Hi everyone. So today we are going to be talking about the case of Akai Gurley. This one is going to be extremely sad. I mean, all the cases I talk about are sad, obviously, but there's just something about this one. You'll see when we get into it. But I do want to apologize because there was more information on this than some of the other cases that I have been searching for, but there's still not a whole lot. Most of it is not really even about Akai himself, because I always want to try to find information about the victim or the person that I'm talking about. And we do have a little bit, but most of it is about the situation and then the actual trial itself, which is going to annoy the shit out of you. I'm just being completely honest. But I just wanted to let you know that there is not a whole lot of information, but I did include as much as I could that made sense to the case, and I hope that it tells you a little bit about Akai, because he deserves to be remembered for being a good person that he was. I mean, I didn't know him, but just the way that his family talks about him. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Also, in the description will be the links to all the articles that I used for research. If you want to do your own research, please go check them out. I think that's it. Oh yeah, there will be a link to the case suggestions form as always. If you have something you want me to talk about, you can submit it there. But let's go ahead and jump into this. So, like I said, today we were talking about Akai Gurley, and he was murdered by a police officer for basically being in his apartment stairwell. Yeah. Anyways, let's just get into it. So, Akai was 28 years of age at the time of the shooting. He was born in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, and moved to New York with his family as a child. On November 20th, 2014, Akai was getting his hair braided by his girlfriend Kimberly Bollinger at the Louis H. Pink houses in the East New York section of Brooklyn, New York. The two lived together with their 2-year-old daughter, Akila, and she is just adorable. I'm sure I'll have pictures of Akai and Akila on the screen. So Akai and Kimberly exited the building. So we're getting into what happened. Like, this is what I said, there's not a whole lot on him. So Akai and Kimberly exited the building by way of the stairs because the building's elevator was actually out of service. The lights were also malfunctioning, so the stairwell was dark. Akai and Kimberly entered the stairwell on the 7th floor, just a floor below officers Sean Landau and Peter Lang, who were performing a routine patrol of the building. As the two officers approached the next stairwell, Officer Lang, a 27-year-old rookie who had just graduated the academy a year before this incident, pulled out his flashlight and unholstered his service firearm, a 9mm Glock. I think that's what 9mm means, right? I'm sorry, I don't know guns. But Officer Lang opened the door to the stairwell and was immediately startled by a noise in the stairwell. He later claimed that the noise caused him to discharge his weapon. The single bullet ricocheted off the wall and struck Akai in the chest. Startled, Akai ran down 2 flights of stairs before realizing he was shot and would collapse on the 5th floor. And I just want to stop right here. If you haven't figured it out already, the comments are turned off because whenever it comes to police murdering people, you get a lot of people screaming back the blue and a lot of nonsense. And I just don't want to see it. I'm sure other people don't want to see that nonsense. I'm sure if Akai's family ever comes across this, they don't want to see those comments. So the comments are turned off, and I'm going to state how I feel on that right now. I understand that Officer Lang was a rookie, and I'm sure being on the job is nervousness is going to make you nervous sometimes, because you have a serious job. But this serious job is why you need to be completely comfortable as well. Your job is to protect and serve, not to just shoot people because you were scared. I don't know why you unholstered your gun when you were going into a, you know what I'm saying? Like, you weren't being threatened. I mean, maybe they were like trying to protect themselves because the lights were malfunctioning and maybe it was kind of eerie. But you were ready to shoot. That's kind of weird. And so you shot. And I just, yeah. I don't get it. If your job is to protect and serve, and you're carrying weapons, you need to be completely comfortable because you have someone else there, your coworker, your partner there. You have all these weapons. I'm sure if it really came down to it, the police officer has the upper hand. And so saying I'm startled is just shitty because you already have the upper hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, Akai was not, as far as I know, he didn't have any weapons on him. He ran. You know what I'm saying? And then realized he was shot and collapsed. He was walking in a stairway. And I just think that, I'm sorry, rookies just shouldn't be able to handle those types of weapons until they are completely comfortable, because the shit like that happens way too fucking often. And saying, oh, I was scared, I was startled, not a reason, not a reason, not a reason, will never be a reason. And I want to say that right now. Will never be a reason to shoot an innocent person. And then just know that he ran down stairs and then realized he was shot. He was so scared. Like, you're just minding your own fucking business, and then you're shot. And then what about Kimberly? Like, how scared must she have been? Like, she's just spending time with her boyfriend, leaving the building, and then he's shot and he's running, and it's just like, what the hell? Anyways, I just had to rant about that for a second. But this next part is going to be even more upsetting. So neither officer stopped to perform any life-saving techniques on Akai. They did nothing for him. They let him die. So a rookie police officer pulls out a gun because he's afraid of the stairwell. Startled by people in the stairwell because you're in a building where people, are. Shoots an innocent person and then does nothing to fucking help him. Neither of them do. Excuse me? Excuse me? Fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. But instead, Officer Lang chose to call his union representative while Officer Lando called in the situation to the local police station house. When paramedics arrived, Akai was pronounced dead at the scene. Both officers were removed from duty pending court proceedings. How do you shoot an innocent person and then just not fucking help them? How do you think, oh my god, I did something wrong, I need to, call my people before I give this person help? If you were really fucking innocent, you would have helped this fucking person, and you would have said later, my fucking bad, it was an accident, I was scared, I should not have done this. But instead, not doing anything to help him makes you look really fucking bad. I'm sorry. That part, when I was researching, it pissed me off to high heaven. So, okay, I'm sorry. I'm like skipping through my notes while I'm trying to calm myself down. So, Lang was convicted of manslaughter on Thursday for killing Akai. The jury deliberated a little more than 2 days before reaching a verdict. The police department said soon after the verdict that it had fired Officer Lang. Which, good. He should never be allowed to be a police officer again. I don't know if he ever will be. But it's a good thing he got fired, because, he should not be in that profession if that's how you react. So one of Officer Lang's lawyers, Robert E. Brown, goes on to say, clearly it's a terrible tragedy that Mr. Gurley died. And then described the shooting as a freakish accident. And he adds, my client feels terrible about it, but what he did wasn't a crime. Are you fucking kidding me? You killed someone! That is a crime! That is a crime! And it's a little bit more than a freakish accident. It's a homicide. You murdered someone. End of fucking story. Oh, I get it. It's their job to, defense lawyers, I get it's their job to defend their client. But some of them are just so smarmy and slimy, I can't. So, Officer Lang was facing up to 15 years in prison on the second-degree manslaughter charge when he is sentenced on April 14th. Most of the jurors left the courtroom quickly, but one juror, who declined to give his name, said in a brief interview that the decision had been very, very, very difficult. He adds, "I've got to face my family. Half of them are cops. Listen. This dude's a murderer. It shouldn't matter if your family are in the same profession. If they murdered someone, they should understand that you deserve to go to jail." You know what I'm saying? It's just icky how they, protect each other. It's gross. So the prosecutors portrayed Officer Lang as acting recklessly and pulling out his weapon and firing inside a public space where residents come and go. They also accused him of being more concerned over what the shooting would mean for his career than in abiding by police rules and trying to help Mr. Gurley, who we know is the father of 2 young girls after he had been shot. And yeah, it is reckless. It's extremely reckless. It could have been any resident. He doesn't know. There's people in this building. I just don't understand why you unholstered your gun, prepared to shoot, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense to me. Mr. Lang's lawyers had argued that he was in a state of shock over what he had done. They said he felt unqualified to perform CPR, but he was very much qualified to carry a gun, right? Anyways, let's carry on. Yeah, I can't perform CPR, but I can definitely shoot someone. Oh, and that is required of an officer under these kind of things, right? But he's unqualified to perform it. And he says that he was unqualified because he received poor training at the police academy, which I totally believe. I don't think police officers get the kind of training they should have. I just don't think that they do. But that's not an excuse to shoot someone and then not know how to perform CPR. His partner, Officer Sean Lando, who was provided immunity from prosecution. Listen, you didn't bother to help, really, either. So, you shouldn't have gotten immunity, but whatever. But he would also testify about receiving little training. He said Officer Lang sank to the floor in tears shortly after realizing he had shot someone. Sucks to suck, bro. Maybe you should be better at your job. Anyways, the prosecution introduced a radio call Mr. Lang made into evidence, saying he did not call for an ambulance. Okay, let's keep going. The defense said the dispatch was tantamount to a call for help from Mr. Gurley. Patrick J. Lynch, the president of the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, the city's largest police union, denounced the verdict, saying it would have a, quote, "a chilling effect on police officers across the city because it criminalizes a tragic accident." Listen, I got a lot to say. This situation is incredibly tragic, Patrick. But he still killed someone because whether it was poor training, he just wanted to shoot someone, or he was startled, whatever the reason, he still killed someone, and it should be punished. End of story. But like I said, they all protect each other, and it's just fucking icky. So like I was saying, Lang faced up to 15 years in prison, but a Brooklyn prosecutor requested that the former officer receive no prison time. And so Judge Danny Chun, I'm sorry, I didn't Google that name, called the shooting an accident. And goes on to say, shooting that gun and killing someone was probably the last thing in his mind, and probably never entered his mind at all. This was not an intentional act. There is no evidence, either direct or circumstantial, that the defendant was aware of Akai Gurley's presence. Ooh. Mr. Danny, you should not be a fucking judge. So, shooting the gun and killing someone wasn't on his mind, but discharging his gun and unholstering his gun was on his mind. He was in a residential building where people are. So he should know that someone was probably in this building. He could run into someone, and he still had his gun out. Oh, and there is evidence, you know what I'm saying? Not helping Akai, not calling for an ambulance, worrying about his own shit over Akai. He cared more about himself than Akai. End of fucking story. Oh, that person should not be a fucking judge. It was not an intentional act. but he was prepared should he have that option. That's what it screams to me. Okay. But he reduced that conviction to criminally negligent homicide and sentenced Lang to 5 years probation and 800 hours of community service. Bull fucking shit. He should be behind bars. He murdered someone. So, Akai's family, this comes 2 years later. They got to receive more than $4 million from the city to settle a wrongful death claim. As part of the settlement, Lang will pay $25,000 to Kim or Kimberly Bollinger, the mother of Akai's young daughter. And this part comes from the New York Daily News, and it says, the money will be put into a fund for Akai, which can't be touched without court approval until she is 18. But the money will be invested in rock-solid annuities that will actually provide the girl with an estimated $10 million over the course of her lifetime, which... Oh, I'm about to cry. It's like, this girl is going to grow up without her dad. And from the photo, she is, like, so tiny, so little. She doesn't get to have any memories with him because someone was scared when they were in a professional fucking job. And now she doesn't have her dad. The very least that she should get is that $10 million. She should have her dad. And that's really all I have for you. I do want to add this part that I found while researching. So in New York, officers are rarely indicted by grand juries, let alone put on trial, for deaths that occur in the line of duty. And it's just gross, because if you murder someone, it doesn't matter that you're a police officer. It shouldn't matter what your profession is. If you murder someone, you murdered someone. Akai should be here. Akai should have her father. Kimberly should have her boyfriend with her. And who knows, maybe they would have gotten engaged, Maybe they would have even more children. And even more so, his entire family won't ever get to see him again, hug him. They won't get to spend holidays with him, birthdays. And like I said, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry again. Kyla is gonna have to grow up not having her dad. So, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. That is what I have for you guys. I'm sure it probably upset you the way it upset me. This was so senseless, it never should have happened. He should still be alive. The people that I talk about in general should still be here. But when you hear about stories like Akai's, it's just like, how do things like this just happen? Because you were scared. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous. But, I'm gonna end it here. Like I said, I don't want to cry again. If Akai's family comes across this, I'm sorry for being so emotional towards the end. I hope you are getting some sort of peace. I hope Kyla will have a great life. I hope that Kimberly will have a great life. His entire family has a great life. Those were the only two people that were really mentioned in any of the resources, so, and I'm sorry, and I wish there would have been a better turnout, because he deserved better justice than this. This wasn't justice. And I'm sorry. But thank you for listening to Akai's story, and like I said, the links will be down below, and yeah, I'll see you guys next Sunday. Bye, guys.